Since his debut all the way back in the original Legend of Zelda, Ganon has become one of gaming's all-time best villains. Despite not appearing in every entry or appearing as another incarnation entirely, the power-hungry warlock most definitely leaves an impact, no matter which experience you play. But have you ever wanted to know more about the Gerudian Demon King? Here's 5 random facts about Ganon. Despite first being introduced as the beastly Ganon in the original Legend of Zelda, it would be years until audiences finally learned the origins of the man who was once known as Ganondorf. Lustful and greedy, Ganondorf was by birthright born as the king of the Gerudo, being the only male born that century. Raised by twin witches Kume and Kotake, Ganondorf used his warrior training, title, and dark magic to gain the King of Hyrule's trust, and eventually gain access to his ultimate goal, the mythical Triforce. In The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, players gain more insight into Ganondorf's motives, as it is revealed that he originally sought power in order to escape the harsh desert wastelands he constantly experienced as a member of the Gerudo. This marked the first time that Ganondorf was shown in a sympathetic light, and helped to finally explain the corruption and evil downfall of the once proud king. In the 2011 release Skyward Sword, an explanation was given as to how Link, Zelda, and Ganon have had so many incarnations across so many different games. At the end of the game, the final boss Demise warns Link that an incarnation of his hatred would be reborn as a being to pursue dominations of the world, as well as those with the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero in a cycle without end. Despite Link and Zelda clearly having many reincarnations over the span of the series' timeline, it should be noted that, at least in all main entry games, the villainous Ganon is still the same version first introduced in Ocarina of Time, with that incarnation living for an abnormally long amount of time, spanning many generations of Hyrule, or simply being resurrected. Despite being the most powerful being in the land of Hyrule, Ganon has a tendency to manipulate those around him to gain whatever he seeks. If we include Skyward Sword's demise, there have been at least 4 instances in which Ganon or his spirit has been the main antagonist's puppet master all along. This character trait is also apparent in many final battles with the evil warlock, as he often possesses others or controls puppets in order to fight battles for him rather than crush his opponents himself. Although it's easy to read his manipulative qualities as cowardly, the reality is that they're a reflection of Ganon's overconfidence, as he truly doesn't believe any challenger is worthy of his own ability. You'd think that the name Ganon would be simple enough to get right, but you'd be wrong apparently. Beginning with the original game and its Japanese sequel, Ganon originally had 2 N's in the middle rather than 1. This was updated for all re-releases after A Link to the Past, but even that game had its own errors, as Ganon's tower was once again spelled with 2 N's in the original Japanese release. At this time, Nintendo of America also confused many fans of the series by giving Ganondorf the surname Dragmire in A Link to the Past North American manual. In Hyrule Historia, this was officially deemed non-canon, as the encyclopedia stated that while in human form, the character is simply known as Ganondorf, while as a beast he becomes Ganon. Despite this, there are still recent instances in which a character mistakenly refers to the human Ganondorf as Ganon, including the King of Red Lions and Zant. It is often assumed that the reason for Ganon's immense power, as well as his immortal healing abilities, can be attributed to Ganondorf obtaining the Triforce of Power in Ocarina of Time. Because that game takes place near the beginning of the Zelda timeline, it can be assumed that every subsequent appearance of the character is still in possession of Din's Triangle, due to the game's final cutscene clearly showing the goddess's mark still represented on his hand. This important cutscene also explains how the character has been able to live for so many generations without dying, as well as endure fatal wounds and use staggering amounts of dark magic to possess others and transform back and forth between his 2 forms. Well, that's all the time we have for now, but make sure you check out our other 5 random facts videos, and subscribe for more to come. Also, make sure you watch last week's video on Sonic the Hedgehog, and if you're interested, my countdown on the best 2D Zelda games. You can find us on Twitter @randomtens, and, as I always say, happy hunting, baby rhinos.